up we have the Scottish Classic Sports Saloons. Rain continues to fall, really tricky conditions for these guys as they head out for their first race of the year, but it's Harry Simpson on pole position. Harry loves the wet conditions. I think every time it was wet last year we saw Harry either winning or on pole position. They're shaking their head at me, he loves it. I'll hand it to Richard and he'll take us through the first race of the year.
Thanks, Joe. Harry Simpson on pole. Tommy Gilmartin in the Morgan lines up alongside. Then it's Raymond Boyd and Stan Bernard making an all Porsche at Road 2. Alex Montgomery next, then Jimmy Crow. Grant Allen 7th, Ian Daltrey in 8th. Trio of Alphas completed by James Braid and John Bennett. Then it's Andrew Graham in the Triumph TR8 and Max Horn in the Lotus Cortina. Great to see a Lotus Cortina on the grid. I can't recall the last time I saw one of those in the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloons Championship. Lights are on in wet conditions and the Wee Janetta gets away well. It's the Morgan a little bit slow as you might expect off the grid. The defending champion Stan Bernard is in 3rd, although Raymond Boyd's looking up the inside in the Porsche as well. But it's Harry Simpson that leads them down for the first time into Scotsman Corner. Porsche battle being led at the moment then by Raymond Boyd. 51, Alex Montgomery, Kinross base racer in the MG BGT V8, up ahead of Jimmy Crow in his familiar Class C Ford Escort, the only entrant at this meeting in Class C. The points that are available are very much like the Scottish Saloon and Sports Car Championship and dependent on the number of starters in class. Essentially, you're looking at 3 starters or more to secure maximum championship points, 25 points for a class win. So the idea there being that the classes that are best supported are most likely to provide the end of season champion, and that's been the case in the last few seasons. Reigning champion, as we said, Stan Bernard. Got Jimmy Crow, the only other class champion from last year, back on the grid, but this is a championship which will probably see over the course of the season drivers making the occasional appearance perhaps, or maybe having to miss the first round due to other commitments. As you can see, the weather not the best thing at the moment. Big sideways moment from the Morgan, in fact so sideways that the back end completely revolves. It's a difficult car in the best of conditions, and Tommy Gilmartin, you might remember Tommy racing the Ford Capri in years gone by. Latterly, of course, has been racing the Morgan, but a lot of experience in this championship, having raced the Capri before he got the Morgan. And whatever machine that he pedals out, it's great to see him racing. But Harry Simpson lights up. Look at the lead that Simpson's got in the Class G Janetta. Class A, the smallest of the classes represented, and that has just the one entry this weekend, which is Ian Daltrey in the Alpha side. The other 2 Alphas running in Class B for the slightly bigger engines, but it's the Janetta splashing its way down the straight. Raymond Boyd himself, another former champion, outright champion back in 2014, and Stan Bernard, the only double champion in the current run of classic Scottish racing. Prior to the advent of the Classic Sports and Saloon Car Championship, here was a formula called Historic Ecos, but Stan very much has been the man to beat over recent years. Morgan's back running at the moment, down behind Alex Montgomery, who qualified 2nd position in Class E. So once the Morgan gets on terms with the MG, it's going to be a battle for the class lead. I don't think it's going to be a battle for long. We change shot and go back to the 2 Class D Porsches. Grant Allen, incidentally, is racing in a Porsche as well, the Air-based driver. And variety added as ever by Andrew Graham in the Triumph TR8, and you can see the Alphas having their little battle behind him as well. So it is an extremely eclectic field, a terrific mixture of cars. A couple of cars showing on the original entry list not out on track. Ian Baines was due to, I think, race in the Mini, and Alistair Coates in the Mustang, but hopefully we'll see those guys a little bit later on in the season. Well, as you can see, Tommy Gilmartin has made progress and he's now up into 4th position, and it's the defending champion Stan Bernard who is up in front of him. They'll be racing for track position but not for points in respective classes, because the Morgan, of course, running in Class E, and the Porsche running in Class D. In fact, the Class D is effectively a Porsche class because all three of the entrants are from that mark. Morgan makes the pass on Stan Bernard. Stan knows that he's not competing for points there with the 77 car. Of course, he'd love an outright win. But at the moment, Raymond Boyd seems to have the legs on the defending champion. So, in fact, the two Porsches, both champions over the last couple of years, and Tommy Gilmartin, who's in between them, was the champion, the outright champion in 2013, retained the Class E championship title the year that Raymond Boyd took the overall championship in 2014. So there are a good few titleists here, and not only have we got some great machinery, but we've got some multi-championship winning drivers piloting the machines for the hundreds of people that have come into Knockhill to watch the racing today. So good recovery thus far from Tommy Gilmartin after that spin. He's starting to put Raymond Boyd under a bit of pressure. Harry Simpson is away and down the road. Simpson, the only driver breaking into the 66-second bracket. Everybody else in 67s and downwards. But this is now a battle for second place. Are we going to see the Morgan maybe slot through on the inside? You can see just how much spray is being thrown up into the face of the Morgan at the moment. Here's the view from Raymond Boyd. Relatively defensive, I've got to say, going into the hairpin. And floors it now. We might see the Morgan make a move here up the hill. This is one of the places on the circuit where there's room for the Morgan to stretch its legs and maybe move into second place. Raymond's still focusing on going forward at the moment. Max Horn in the Lotus Cortina is next up. Horn, the one of three entries in Class B with the two Alphas, and goes wide and allows Raymond Boyd through. Horn continues to stay wide on the circuit and allows the Morgan through as well. So good driving from the new driver. Max is based in Dunfermline, and the only new driver out there racing on circuit. There was actually another new driver entered, which was the Fiat X19 of Alex Bapti, Perth-based driver, but for whatever reason that car not showing. But again, hopefully we'll see that car a little bit later on in the season as we go in car with the Lotus Cortina 1600cc, and as I say, sharing that class with John Bennett, the Alfa Romeo Giulietta, and the Alfa Romeo Junior GT of James Braid. But out front, no question about Harry Simpson, who is leading this one, class champion in Class G 2014. Kieran Bailey won the class last year. Harry Simpson running well, the Ginetto running absolutely sweetly, and shape-wise, I guess, comparable with the more latter-day Ginetta G20, which was used as a junior Formula car preceding the current G40 Ginettas. One of the Alphas about to be caught by the race leader as well. Harry Simpson absolutely superb in this Ginetta G4R 1851cc. Lone entry in Class G. He's not going to emerge from this with the championship lead because, as we said, it's about the numbers of cars in class, and it's just the one entrant for him in this one. It's not to say that he won't win the championship, because we might have different winners in the other classes throughout the course of the season. Simpson's best lap 66.076, virtually 70 miles an hour average in these wet conditions. That is a fair old performance from Harry Simpson in the 39 car, based in Edinburgh, not too far away from the Knockhill circuit. A trip across the Forth Bridge and a couple of stops up, a couple of junctions up the motorway is the journey that Harry will have done at the start of the day, and well on his way. How far is he ahead? Quick look at the timing screen. Well, over 20 seconds clear of Raymond Boyd. Tommy Gilmartin, I can tell you, is now sadly retired in the Morgan. But there is the first checker of the year. It's the outright win for Harry Simpson. Raymond Boyd, a long way back. He will take second place overall and a class win. You just saw Jimmy Crowe coming into shot. Jimmy broadsiding it out of the hairpin and coming up. Jimmy's going to take the Class B win, fifth overall for him. There is Raymond Boyd, who takes the checker flag for second. Stan Bernard takes third. Boyd taking the class win. There is the Triumph TR8 of Andrew Graham finishes second in Class E, but here's the result. Simpson, Boyd, Bernard, Alex Montgomery takes the Class E win, then Jimmy Crowe, Ian Daltrey next, Grant Allen, Andrew Graham, John Bennett, James Braid, Max Horn completing the finishes in 11th place.
Harry Simpson, how many times have I spoken to you as winner yet again in that lovely little Ginetta? Wet conditions, experience will shine through.
Well, Joe, I've known you a long time now. And
Well,
you're more like
13 years.
You're more like a son,
Oh, Danny.
you know. But you're not as good looking as me.
Of course.
But yes, the wee car's going absolutely fantastic. I mean, I don't know if the people know that we're not just using Yokohama tyres now. We can use any road tyre. And my car was never very good with the Yokohamas in the wet, but in the dry, it was a fantastic car. So what we've done is we've done a bit of research, Google, all that sort of stuff, and we've got a fantastic set of tyres that does us in the wet. And as you can see, I mean, I won it by what, 20 seconds or something?
Like taking, was it sweeties off a...
Off a baby.
There you go. Easy, Harry. Well done.
Thank you, Joe.
Second place, what can you do with Harry? Not a lot. He's just absolutely on fire in the wet.
Well, he is, and he's testing his new tyres for everybody, so that's great.
You just basically said that's why, yeah, in the wet he's got quite a big advantage with the tyres.
But he's not my class, so I'm chasing stands. So
I know, but you want to win.
I do want to win, but I mean, he's spent a lot of money in the car this year, and I'm probably heavier than what his car is. So, but no, he was driving well. It was, and Tommy was unlucky as well because he got past twice and then lost it twice. So there was a lot of consideration out there, and then we were picking up back markers. So just try to judge everyone, be safe, and keep it true, and that was fine. So I enjoyed it. It was good. Loads of understeer there.
Not easy, is it, in the wet?
No, it's not. I don't mind the wet. My car's usually better than what it is at the moment. But I was just getting horrendous understeer down the McIntyres and couldn't turn in. So, but I'm not complaining. It was a good second place and a good class 1.
Well done.
Cheers, thanks.
Race number 2 from the Classic Sports Saloons is about to head out on track on what is pretty much a bone-dry surface for these guys. The first race was absolutely soaking and was obviously won by Harry Simpson in the lovely little Ginetta. Let's see if he can do it again in the bone-dry. Richard, take it away.
Thanks, Joe. Harry Simpson starts out front. Single line start because of the oil on track. So it's Simpson from Boyd, Stan Bernard third, then Alex Montgomery, Jimmy Crowe and Ian Daltrey. Grant Allen will be 7th, Andrew Graham followed by John Bennett, James Braid, Max Horn in the Lotus, and Tommy Gilmartin, all being well, will take to the grid as well. Due to the problems in a previous race, it's a single file rolling start. Yellow flags replaced now by green, and the resumption of race action with Harry Simpson, the race leader. Raymond Boyd in second. The things to watch, obviously the battle between the two Porsches here on the drier circuit. Also how the Ginetta is going to cope as well. This is the view from Stan Bernard in third place, the defending champion, double champion in Scottish Classics. And also, of course, we need to watch how Tommy Gilmartin is making his way through the field, or as we would expect from the back of the field after that retirement in the Morgan Plus 8 in race number 1. So this, the great view of the defending champion chasing the former champion into the hairpin, and Harry Simpson's made a great start once again. And are we going to see a Porsche battle here? The MG BGT has made a pretty good first lap of it as well. Jimmy Crowe goes through with the Escort in 5th place, and things still relatively close at the moment between the top 4. There is Jimmy Crowe in 5th, taking us back to the late 60s in the Mark 1. And then we've got a big gap behind Jimmy at the moment before we see Ian Daltrey in the Alfa Sud, that car running in Class A. And as predicted, Tommy Gilmartin goes through, chased by Andrew Graham in the Triumph TR8. So Tommy on a mission, but he's got a fair bit of track to watch. This is great for the race fans to be able to see here. Ian Daltrey in Class A. We should see a few more cars out during the course of the season in Class A. I did mention that we had the X19 on the entry list, and we will see some others over the course of the season, but this is a handy little start for Ian Daltrey. And he's got John Bennett in the Class B Alfa Romeo. The Giulietta is chasing him, number 85. That's John Bennett's a 1600cc car, and looks to the outside line here, and the classic Alphas could almost have their own class within the championship. We've had some good showings from them in seasons gone by, and the red one, James Braid, in the Alfa Romeo Junior GT there as well, but a pass by John Bennett, who gets past Ian Daltrey, who did great things with the Alpha-sided race number 1 in extremely wet conditions. Grant Allen in the third Porsche, that's the second car we were looking at, but James Braid running third in Class B. Class B, of course, at the moment led by Jimmy Crowe. So the Alpha battle, the Alpha trio, now headed by John Bennett, will be looking to, I think, realistically pick up second in class behind Jimmy Crowe here, but enjoying his racing. He might even engage with the 3.9 litre Triumph TR8 of Andrew Graham, who's immediately ahead of him, but it's still Harry Simpson out front. The difference on lap times, you can see the difference in the circuit conditions. The best lap in race 1 was Harry Simpson, 66.076 seconds, and he's now down to 59.2, and the average speed is up 7 miles an hour on the best lap on the circuit. So it's Simpson still leading from Raymond Boyd. 3 Alphas together on track there with James Braid in the Junior GT, bringing up the rear of the 3 Alphas at the moment. There is the Triumph TR8 of Andrew Graham. Andrew still running in 64 second laps at the minute, and looking to try and improve those over the course of this race, and engaging, I think, in battle with the Alpha. But there's Raymond Boyd, class leader, so it looks like Raymond's going to be happy with his performance. Jimmy Crowe, I think if things stay the way they are, and of course it's far too early to start thinking about overall championship positions, but Raymond Boyd will be tying with 50 championship points with Jimmy Crowe, with 2 class wins if things stay the way they are. Harry Simpson goes through. It'll be 2 outright wins for Harry if he maintains this form, but he gets significantly less points for just being the lone class entry, of course. But Raymond Boyd keeping him a lot more honest in this one, and Ray Boyd here, if he stays ahead. There's the Cortina of Max Horn, who's still running well, and Max running in Class B, so he will pick up the third place points for running in Class B. But there is Stan Bernard in number 4, still giving chase at the moment to Raymond Boyd, and we're going to have to look back and see progress being made by Tommy Gilmartin. So back in car with Stan, clear track at the moment. I've got to say, really, for the wrong reasons. Clear track, really, because Raymond Boyd is away and down the road. And you can see the blue Porsche up the road, but Stan nonetheless picking up some useful points here, which will be second in class. Up through Clark, climb uphill, and then things flatten out a little bit through Clark, through Hislops, the run down into the tri-oval section and the hairpin. And there's the race leader, Harry Simpson. The car not missing a beat at all, and starting to build a little bit of a lead, as you can see, over Raymond Boyd as we head into the closing stages of this race. We've got James Braid in the Alfa Romeo. I think he's going to be lapped. Max Horns, of course, has already been lapped, so James Braid, the best he can hope for, I think, is going to be 11 laps of the 12 that are allocated to the overall race. And Harry Simpson in the Ginetta. Love the interviews that Harry does with Joe. Seems to get more cheeky as he gets older, doesn't he? And look, the Alphas are still pretty much all in line. The Alphas are headed up. John Bennett in yellow is still there. Ian Daltrey in Class A, and the first of the Alphas is ticked off by the race leader and lapped. Raymond Boyd will try and follow through, and this, of course, is all work to do. Stan Bernard goes past Grant Allen in the 911. Grant is at the moment down behind James Braid, so it wasn't a pass for position. That was Laprid there. Through on the inside goes Tommy Gilmartin into third place. Third place on the road again. Stan won't be overly concerned because, remember, he's in a different class. It's a Class E car, recovering from a start at the back of the grid and up into third place, an overall podium beckoning for Tommy Gilmartin in the Morgan Plus 8. So Tommy's going to pick up some useful points here after the non-finish in race number 1, and starting to put a bit of distance between himself and Stan and the other Porsche. There, behind the red Porsche, is the MGB GT V8 of Alex Montgomery, who is still 5th on the road and picking up some fairly decent points for that. Alex Montgomery, he's going to take 2nd in class to add to the class win in race number 1. But Harry Simpson, remember, lone driver in class G, is going to make it a double win. That won't even get him into the top 6 or top 5 in the championship because of the lack of entries in class. But he's enjoyed coming out and racing against the other cars, putting the new tyres to the test. And he's closing up on Jimmy Crow, and it looks like Jimmy will be I think Jimmy's going to get past by before the end of the lap, and Jimmy's going to finish as Class B winner, a lap down on the overall race winner, which should be Harry Simpson, who goes to the outside line. Jimmy Crow will look in his mirrors and see that car coming through. Back end out comes 60s rally style from the Escort. It's going to be nip and tuck whether Jimmy gets another lap. No, he's not going to get another lap because Harry Simpson makes it 2 out of 2. Jimmy Crow wins Class B in 6th. There is Raymond Boyd, Class D winner, 2nd in the race. Next up, it's the Triumph TR8 of Andrew Graham. He finishes 7th overall. Then we have John Bennett going through, followed by Ian Daltrey. Ian Daltrey again taking Class A victory. There is Stan Bernard following Tommy Gilmartin. Gilmartin wins Class E. Stan Bernard 2nd in Class D, and here's confirmation of the result. Simpson from Boyd, Gilmartin fastest lap and 3rd, then Stan Bernard, Alex Montgomery, Jimmy Crow from Andrew Graham, then John Bennett, Ian Daltrey, James Braid, Grant Allen and Max Horn in 12th, all of them finishing.
Harry Simpson, winner yet again, a dominant performance in the wet conditions, but not quite as easy in the dry.
Well, you've got to remember, Joe, that talent comes into it. As
Of
you
course,
know,
and you've bucket loads.
Yeah, I've got loads and you've got loads.
thank you,
You and me have been we've driven together out there. Some school days when we've been out there in the MGFs, remember?
Yeah,
And
I remember.
I remember. But I mean, the car's great in the wet. Unbelievable in the wet. And it's good in the dry as well. But what you got to remember, Joe, I'm only 1800. Well, these other cars are 3 litre, 3.5 litre. So you're really, really on it and you're trying really, really hard all the time.
Making the advantage through the corners, and then they're...
Yeah, we're making a lot. I can pull away through the chicane and up to Clark's, and then on the straights they pull me in a wee bit again. But wee Craig Brunton came up to me and gave me a wee bit. Imagine Craig Brunton coming up and giving me tuition.
It's not right, is it?
So he gave me a wee bit of tuition out there. So, but you know, Joe, you're never too old to learn. And if anyone's come in here that maybe fancies being a racing driver, come along to Knockhill. The instructors here are fantastic. They know the place inside out. So come along, spend your money, and you'll be a better driver for it.
And you're learning every day, Harry.
Every day's a learning day, Joe, while you're at school. Unfortunately, I'm not at school now.
Well done. Always a pleasure to speak to you. Had a fantastic weekend. 2 wins.
2 wins, fantastic, Joe. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good job.